Mike Fugazzi here with a reaction video slash sort of tutorial of the Blues Traveler cover of No Woman No Cry from 2003 on the rocks. It's a CD, it's a DVD. I have it pulled up over here on YouTube. Cue to the solo. I am not techie enough to have both things on the screen at the same time. The external mic I plan on using is not working, and I'm not going to take the effort to put in my mixer into the computer to figure all that out either. So we're going to do the best we can. I'm watching a meter down here on the Blackmagic Cam app to try to keep my volume in check without clipping too bad. To follow along with this tutorial, you'll need a key of F harmonica. I have a Lee Oscar here, and again, you can find this on YouTube. It was posted 15 years ago. It's got 2.3 million views by my musicians. The audio quality is not great. It clips a little bit from their end, not my end. And again, you can find this on CD, on the rocks, and then the DVD, which is a little harder to come by, but also has great sound. So why? Why am I picking this? Why am I picking it now? This solo is amazing. I've heard it live. I heard it live at a show shortly before this was recorded. I got a set list back there. And I met John that night, and I had an opportunity to talk to him very, very briefly, and like a total idiot was like, how do you play that solo? Which was a really dumb question to ask. It's in the key of F. The harmonica's in the key of F. The song's in the key of C. And this is a song that actually was one of the first songs I ever covered on stage with people. My first band was technically a reggae band, and then most of that band stuck together to come up with a cover band. And we played this song. Obviously, I wasn't playing this epic harmonica solo. It was at a time before I learned to play harmonica. I had been playing about a year when this version of this song came out. So we're going to walk through a little bit. This is going to be a long solo. I'm not going to be able to transpose the whole thing in real time, but I'll be able to give you some context. And I just think there's a number of people who don't appreciate how melodic John Popper is. And he goes all out rock star on this song. However, there's a lot of really cool elements that you can apply to your playing maybe right away. So we're going to jump in. We're 4 minutes and 30 seconds into an 8 minute and 31 second song. Okay, so it sounds like he's articulating something there. Now, I didn't play that exactly, but it sounds like it's a little mixolydian or major pentatonic in the middle of the harmonica. I didn't hear any bends right away, but he started articulating, I think, with his tongue on that first part. Okay. Okay, now this is a sort of John Popper thing that I rip off all the time. I actually don't play that much like John Popper. However, this is an example of something that I would totally steal. Sounds like there might be an octave effect on, a low octave effect. But he goes up a run, and again, I'd call it a mixolydian run probably, or maybe a major pentatonic run where he goes to the 7 draw. Yeah, it's definitely major. That 5 draw didn't sound right. Now, I don't know if I didn't tab any of this out, so I'm just going by ear, but that was pretty close. So first part of the phrase, the call part starts in the middle of the harp, work its way down, and he plays his way up to resolve that phrase. And at this point, I would categorize this as pretty melodic in terms of the phrasing. There's not a lot of repetition there, but he's definitely trying to work a call and response line. Okay, same thing there, right? He's using the top end of the harmonica, but it's a very melodic passage. I'm not going to be able to play it note for note. Let's see if I can go back here and figure out some of it. All right, same sort of thing, mixolydian playing over that part to more major pentatonic. He's not going to hit the 5 draw there, so let's call it major pentatonic. And he's playing the top octave of the harmonica mostly, so he's basing a lot of that riffing around the 6 and 7 draw. And if we go back and listen one more time, I don't think he's just running up and down a scale. There seem to be some specific chord tones he's going for, or parts of the arpeggio, however you want to phrase that. And there's a theme there that he's going to come back to, I think. Okay, then he's coming back down the harp. So maybe you heard it there. I'll point it out when we come back to it. But the phrasing here, you know, if we were to break it down like as a blues player trying to figure out how to play this rock stuff, definitely more major pentatonic than it is minor pentatonic. And the phrasing here follows more of an ABC pattern, meaning he's not repeating a lot of lines right now. He's playing melodies, working up and down the harmonica. And there's a little bit of triplet there where he's taking on some of the notes. That's kind of his style. He'll take something that could be a simple melodic line, and then he'll add notes. And he'll do that with a quick triplet with his mouth, or with how he's articulating with his tongue. But really all of that is just the same couple holes of the harmonica. There was a little bit of a blow bend there, which is interesting because that's considered sometimes a first position bluesy technique, but if you hit some of those blow bends over a more of a major riff like he's doing, they actually fit in context pretty sweetly, and they give you some cool chances for vibrato. So let's keep going through this here. He worked his way, let's jump back a couple of seconds. He worked his way, I'm at 403 is where we'll jump back in. And he does come back with a bluesy line. So this is something that you can do, is you can be playing something other than the blues scale. You can be playing Mixolydian, and again, I think this is mostly major pentatonic. You can play some major riffage, and then you can create some tension by adding a bluesier riff, which is something I think he does here around 4 draw coming up. Okay, a couple bends there before he goes back up to Mixolydian. I'll play. I was kind of trying to figure it out a little bit as we were playing over. I'll just let it play. Right there. A little bit of blues playing there. Now he's working his way back up and playing more major pentatonic. And I would argue that that's pretty melody driven, or he's trying to phrase in a way that's melodic. He's not just running patterns right there, and he's not just worried about the rhythm. There's some intentional note choices there. I think that's one of the strengths of the harmonica, is you can learn to stay within a scale, and you can just really worry about rhythm, and because it's diatonic, the notes are going to sound right. I think there's some intentional note choices here. I don't think he's just worrying about a pattern on a harmonica. I think he's intentionally hitting some blow bends when he wants that sound, or the 7 draw, and he's establishing that it's major. Okay, so we got the first part of the solo, right? I would call like pretty harmonica for the most part. A little bit of call and response, trying to do some melodic phrasing when he's playing some extra notes. There's, you know, some triplets there, some articulation there, but nothing crazy, just melodies in the middle and the top octave of the harmonica. And he's trying very hard to keep it major sounding and not get too much into the minor sounds, except for towards the end of that passage where he adds a little bit of a bluesy run before working up to the melody. So to me, very dynamic and exciting way to start a solo. It's lyrical, it draws you in. It doesn't have a lot of repetition, so it's not a solo you're necessarily going to hum to this point. You're not going to leave that show humming that melody. But I would say working towards more like horn or vocal phrasing there than kind of an AAB or ABA or ABB kind of blues harp kind of thing. So now it's at 5:15. What's going to kick in here gets increasingly nuts, and at some point I'm not going to be able to keep up with what he's playing. So we're gonna tell a story here. The first part of the story was pretty sweet, very major sounding, and now he's gonna start going off the rails in a different direction. All right, so he's kicked on some distortion. He's taken that octave pedal off. He started with some articulation. And what he's doing there, which I think is super cool, he doesn't get enough credit for, is he's coming back to the melody of the song. That's a vocal line in this song. Everything's going to be all right is kind of what he's riffing off of, right? So how can you apply that? Well, when you're playing a song, and again, when you're playing a diatonic harmonica, a lot of the notes are just going to be right notes no matter what. If you're playing major, minor, in between, you can focus on rhythm. He's got a really good ear, so he's picking up the exact notes of that melody. If you can't do that, you can still fudge that rhythm of everything's going to be all right. See, I hit different notes there, but it's still the same sort of thing. And you can do that as a way to focus on the rhythm rather than the pitch. He's choosing to do both, which is very cool. So he's got the distortion up. He's not playing anything super fast, but he's cupping the harmonica now. He's going to get a more overdriven sound. Let's see where he takes it from there. Still on the melody. Playing off the melody. Okay, and then he takes off, right? So very cool way to start the second half of the solo, quoting part of the vocal line of the song, repeating that you can hum. You will hum, you can stick with that. You can remember it after the show. So he went from very pretty, very in the moment, very playing from the space or kind of in the zone, in the pocket, whatever you want to call that. And then he's going to transition, and he's very intentionally going to phrase around the melody, establish a strong melody, and then he's going to go to lift off from there. So far, we're a minute into the solo, and I would say that he hasn't done any of the typical popper riffing that people sometimes give him a hard time for. But I would also argue that he does that a lot less than people think. So he's going to go nuclear here. I'm not going to be able to keep up and play those exact patterns or pick up on every note. So again, here it comes. I love this. How can you not be excited about this? The crowd's going nuts. Okay, we're gonna come back to this because he does this really cool run. I can't play it note for note, but you could hear me try to work out a little bit of the riff because I've heard it several times, so I remember that. There's a very melodic part here. So when I talk about him being a melodic player, this is another example, the second biggest one of what I mean by that. So let me get a little closer to the start of that run. It's going to come back at 5:24, and the crowd starts going nuts because they know what's coming. This is telling a story. This is putting on a show. This is being a rock star. Sometimes people say less is more, and I call BS on that. Sometimes more is more. So he's going to go a little bit of more is more here, and it serves the song. The people here live, listening to live music, had a great night because of this part of the song. It's just Billy, you can tell in the video that the crowd knows it's coming. It's so cool. So there he's playing a couple patterns, a couple triplet patterns, but he doesn't stay on anything too long. A lot of players who play with speed or they use patterns stay on those patterns for a while. I'm guilty of that. I'll play a pedal note for several bars and repeat a pattern over and over and over. He has so much vocabulary and the ability to take on extra notes that, he'll go a couple beats to a bar of a pattern and then he jumps to something else. That's what makes him special. I think the rest of us that play fast or use some patterns when we play aren't able to jump around as much of that. Like we stay on those patterns longer before we go. And some players, they just go up and down the patterns. He's like jumps patterns. So he's going to come up to that melodic part here too. Da 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 da. So there's a very established melody coming up. This is just the best right here. Okay, so there's nothing about that's absurd, right? It's not super fast. It's not super complicated. There's a couple blow bends in there. It's just uncharted territory for a lot of harmonica players because of the fact that it's in the top octave of the harmonica. And I couldn't play that. I haven't listened to this for years. This is just like something randomly I came up with doing for YouTube today. But it stuck around that long. And that was when I met him. Like, I wanted to know how to play that part because I couldn't figure it out by ear, and I'd been playing barely the ear. I'm not even finding the right note. I'm missing a note there. I think he goes to the 6th drop. Right? So he's playing a melody. That doesn't sound too dissimilar from like Mary Had a Little Lamb kind of stuff, right? But because of the tone, the intensity, the context in the song, it's a really big moment for people. So here he's got people eating out of the palm of his hand, this epic solo. And yep, he did some jamming early. He came back, established a motif, showed a little flash, came back to a really strong motif. And now he's built that story, and he's going to come to, the most chaotic part here. He's going to come to the peak of the solo. So I'm going to back it up just a hair so you get that lead in here. So there's that melody, right? Like, it's undeniable. Very melodic. Now here we go. Right? And that's how he ends the solo on this huge epic passage. And there, I think, is a great example of his melodic playing, that it can be hard to pick up, right? Like, he played some things that were very melodic, not super flashy, not taking on extra notes, a lot of self-restraint there for his type of playing, which is not too dissimilar from me, so I'm not knocking anyone. And then he goes into this flurry of notes to wrap up before coming back into the vocal. And that's just good theater. That's a good story. He told a very complete story within that solo. He wasn't just noodling around looking for notes and, oh, I found something cool, I'm going to start repeating that. Like, that had a structure, that had a plot. This is what I love most about improvising and soloing on an instrument. Obviously, I prefer to play harmonica, but you could do this on guitar or horn or anything else. And there's a little bit of flash there at the end, but he earned that, right? He didn't come in guns blazing like that. He worked up to that, and he earned that payoff. So when I say more is more, that's what I mean. That's a celebration of life in that song. That's taking a song that's a blues. No Woman, No Cry is not structurally a 12-bar blues, but thematically, you can argue can be the blues. And he turned that into a celebration of life. Like, that is a reflection of that song and the lyrics. He quoted those melodies. He told a complete story there in the same way that the song tells a complete story. So the next time that you're looking for a song to check out, a solo for some inspiration, jump back to this one, even if you just learn a phrase or two. I could never play this note for note, nor would I even try. I would try to quote some of what he does there in honor and reverence to his performance of this song. I'm not saying you should go learn it note for note, but I hope that you picked up on the significance of coming up with the theme, and that this is really taking some melodies and some dynamics and some theatrics on the instrument and really telling a great moving story that if you were there, you got goosebumps. Again, this is 22 years old and I still get goosebumps listening to it. I probably smiled like an idiot when I wasn't playing along with the song. So let's listen to that outro part one more time before he gets into the vocals, which could be a whole nother video because this man is an amazing singer. That melody, it's there. You can sing it. Here we go. And just one last comment about the very end of that song, that flurry of notes he does. You know, it wasn't exactly that, but it was similar in that he took a fast phrase and repeated it just a little different. It was the same, but a little different a few times. Great use of those extra notes. You're still playing something that has a pattern, has a melody, and that can be hard to pick up on. I think that's part of what makes him polarizing at times, is that even for other harmonica players, you're supposed to, you know, hear this in waves. But if you're really trying to analyze it note for note, it can become very overwhelming to hear all the nuance and everything he's doing, all those little bends, all those little breaths, how he's moving his hand, how he's moving his jaw. It's just amazing what he's able to do and how he's been able to sustain that. So I have no idea how much interest this will have in the harmonica community. I hope, if anything, you see me really excited and joyous about great music, and that you can find the music that brings you that same feeling and find a way to dissect some of that and learn to tell a story similar to that song that makes you so happy or sad or whatever emotion you want to feel. Lots of melodic content here, lots that you can pull from. You could learn a bar or two of this song that you could play in another song that's not a blues and sound really cool. Get some wow factor, get some cheers. I think we all want to sit in front of, you know, thousands of people and play music that they appreciate and will clap along to. Hope it helps.